This week on the Cameron Journal podcast, we're talking with Galadriel Grace, and we're going to talk about all things book marketing and how to, as a writer, how you can market your book better, what you need to do, what you need to avoid, and how to make sure that people are reading your work. So it's going to be an exciting podcast. This one's kind of more for writers than anything else, but if you've ever wondered how the wild world of book marketing works, this is going to be a great podcast episode for you. So, welcome to the Cameron Journal podcast. Here we go. This is the Cameron Journal podcast. It's a place where we talk about important things. It's a place where we bring a little slice of the news to you. It's a place where we do important things, have important conversations. It's also things that I like to talk about. My name is Cameron Cowan, and this is the Cameron Journal podcast. Today on the Cameron Journal podcast, we are very excited to have Galadriel on to talk about book marketing. I've been following her on Twitter for a while for various and sundry book marketing tips, and this is a special episode for the writing community to talk about how we can market our books better in 2021, especially in a post-COVID environment. So, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you.
Excellent.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, so why don't you give us a little bit of background? How did you get into the book marketing business?
Actually, I kind of had people just asking me, can you help me market my books? So that's pretty much how it started. And I ended up getting into the business of doing it. Just having people help. Yeah. Lots of people need help with marketing and they don't know what to do with their books. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So what have been some of the challenges you found with people marketing their books, during this time of COVID? What have people struggled with?
Well, primarily right now, with everything being shut down, it's difficult to get book signing stores and things like that. So that's pretty much it. Everybody's trying to figure out how to do things online.
No, that absolutely makes sense. I think, because books are a tangible object, oftentimes we kind of had this kind of tangible world mindset, and now all of a sudden that's unavailable to us. So trying to figure out how to replicate all that in a digital environment is difficult.
Yes. Yeah, there's one author, what she used to do is she'd throw a big party and she would just, she'd sell all of her books and everything was great. And now she's like, what do? I can't throw this big party. And so I'm trying to help her do it through, Zoom or something like that, get your friends together and, do the same thing, but you just have to do it virtually now.
Right. So. Yeah, when it comes for, new authors who've just put out their first book, what would you say is the top, maybe 3 things they should focus on to get those early sales and that early brand awareness going?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that I would focus on, actually, that people often overlook is actually their Goodreads profile. Goodreads is really fantastic for marketing your books and for getting yourself out there as an author. People go there to read books and to see new books. That's an often overlooked platform. And also, just try to do something have a Facebook event or something like that if you're on Facebook, or, let's see, 3 things. And of course, you can do the, give away your free ebook on Amazon and things like that. That's always a good one to use.
Yeah.
So, for a week or something like that.
Of course. No, that makes absolute sense. Now, I do want your perspective on a debate that I have had personally. And I know where I fall on it, but I've noticed in the writing community on Twitter, there's kind of 2 camps. Camp A is the go all in on Amazon KDP. Camp B, which I'm a part of, is yeah, Amazon is nice, but there's also other stuff elsewhere. And do we really need to be slaves for Jeff Bezos? And I wanted to know your perspective
Oh,
on, should you go all in on Amazon or should you go for broader distribution?
oh, absolutely. Broader distribution. Yes. Actually, okay, one author, for example, what they did is their actual print book isn't being released until the end of January. So what they did was they set up a platform on their website, on their personal website, where they go and they were giving away their ebook at a discounted rate, and people could just download it directly from their website rather than going through Amazon at all. So I totally agree with you. Yes.
Yeah.
Amazon is just it's popular, but it is not the ultimate solution, and yeah, it's that's not where everybody should be. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely look at different platforms.
Yeah, I've kind of I've been doing this in some form since 2013, and so I've kind of watched Amazon creep into the book publishing business, and
Hmm.
there's like a lot of people that are just kind of like, oh no, but if you're on KDP and you're exclusive, then you can be on Kindle Unlimited and and you can get on. And they're spending time and money and ads on Amazon. I mean, they're just
Hmm.
shoveling Amazon money. And when
Yes,
I got ready to publish,
and then
yeah, when
Amazon.
I got ready to publish the first time, I was like, that's not for me. That's not for me. I want to go in a different
Yep.
direction. So,
And then Amazon keeps cutting the royalties too that you get. So yeah, it's getting less and less worthwhile, and people are putting entirely too much effort into Amazon.
yeah.
Yes, totally agree.
Yeah, so yeah, it was just kind of. I mean, I put some short stories on Amazon to see if I could get any interest, and that didn't really work out. So I kind of deleted it all. And then when I got ready to publish my first kind of long book, I ended up going with Ingram and going for broad distribution. And it's not that I'm not on Amazon.
Hmm.
I certainly am, but I'm just not
Hmm.
putting all
Yeah.
my eggs in one basket, sort of thing. So
Yes, that's the perfect way to describe it. Yes. I really believe that authors, one of the big things they should do is have their own website, and everything should be directed to your website. Like, even if you set up your author profile on Amazon, you can link it back to your website. You can have your blog posts and things like that automatically go there, and also do the same thing on Goodreads. I mean, you can have everything linked back to your website. I Your website is like, you own it, and that's where everything should link back to.
so I
So no, you should not have anything, yeah,
yeah.
solely on Amazon.
Yeah, so I got that then you're a huge fan of having the author website.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yes. What are maybe
Yes.
some tips people could take with them to improve their author website or to keep in mind as they're building those for the first time? What makes a good author website?
Well, of course, a great picture of yourself. That's a great place to start. And just about you. And you have to have, continual attention on your author website. Like, you want to be posting at least weekly on your blog or something to that effect. And just, put as much on there as you can. But, you don't want to put, I've seen a lot of authors, they'll go and they'll put like free chapters for their book up. And that's not necessarily a good idea, because then people don't have to buy it. But if you put samples up, that's okay. So you don't want to put too much freebie stuff up, but just regular maintenance and regular posting, and just keep at it. That's the big thing.
Yeah. What,
So,
keeping that in mind, let's think about social media presence. It seems like in this day and age, if you're going to be a writer and you're going to do any sort of indie publishing, even traditional publishing, social media presence, you just can't live without it. Like, you just can't not have it. What
yes.
are some good tips for writers on social media?
Well, your profile really has to be really has to be taken care of. That's something people don't pay enough attention to. You know, you have 160 characters on your Twitter profile, for example. You should be using almost all of those to describe yourself as an author and like about your books, what your genre is, and things like that. So, you know, your profile is really important to start with. And then, of course, you know, just regular posting. And everybody says, you know, oh, you have to be on Instagram, you have to be on Facebook, you have to be on this, you have to be on that. You don't. Just pick, you know, maybe one or even just two platforms that you're comfortable with and just go at it. I mean, you know, find your space and do it. You don't have to be on every social media platform.
Yeah,
I mean, like Facebook
yeah.
especially is hard for that, you know.
Right.
Facebook's not a great platform necessarily for authors. I mean, Twitter seems to be better, but I always recommend Goodreads. I mean, it's really fantastic once you get in there and really get going. So
Yeah, absolutely. No, I found that myself when I finally had books out. I'd been on Goodreads for years and years as just a reader. And then when I finally had books out, I got to do the author, you know, profile and all that sort of thing. And so I fixed it all up and added all my books and my picture and descriptions and links and all that sort of thing. Yeah, their profile is very complete. That you can put a lot of stuff on it. You can kind of really go crazy with it. It's a good place for people to find your reviews. Because I did arcs for my first novel and all that sort of thing. And so, yeah, so it is really good one-stop shopping. And it is a site, you know, devoted to readers. So that's helpful. You know, people, you know, yeah, it's kind of a targeted audience. Now, speaking of Facebook, the other thing I wanted to ask you, there's a lot of people who sell a lot of courses about Facebook advertising. I took a Mark Dawson course that basically was how to advertise on Amazon and Facebook, waste of $300. I investigated taking Steve Piper's course, and that was going to be a waste of money too, because it basically was how to advertise on Facebook. When it comes to ads and advertising on social media platforms, what's your perspective? What's your strategy? Because most people don't have a lot of money to spend, so what money they do has to do a lot of good.
Well, what I really recommend as far as advertising on social media, if you do not have a substantial presence and engaging audience, if you're not going to put the time and effort into engaging with your audience, there's no point in advertising. You're just wasting your money. I recommend that you put more effort into engaging with your audience and building your following than paying advertising.
So kind of the more organic approach then.
Yes, definitely focus more on the organic approach. It's advertising. People think that, oh, I can just throw money at this and people are going to, you know, buy my stuff. And that's not the way it works. You have to put just as much effort into advertising and getting your ads seen and getting the right people to click on them as you do if you weren't spending any money at all, just engaging with your audience and just talking with people. I mean, that's a big one. And also one other thing too, as far as engaging with your audience, this is a big mistake that a lot of people make on social media too, is they connect with a lot of other authors. Okay. And it's great to connect with authors because, you know, you're supporting each other and that's fantastic, but your audience is not necessarily authors. The people you need to connect with are your readers. You know, who are your readers, not authors in the same genre or, you know, just hanging out with other authors. I mean, that's good. It's good for, you know, support and people share other people's stuff and it's great that way, but not for actually people who are going to buy your books. You need to focus more on your readers instead of other authors.
Absolutely. So when we're on, let's take Twitter, for example. and I'm looking for new readers. Where might I go? What might I do? What should my strategy be?
Okay, well, say you have, a fantasy novel. Okay, we'll
Yeah.
just use that as an example. Okay, so what's your book about? If it's about dragons and stuff like that, for example, find people that are interested in dragons. There's a lot of people that, they just like dragons. So they'll be posting stuff on their Twitter, about dragons. Well, they're more likely to be interested in reading your book. You know what I mean? You
Right.
find people who connect in the same way with what's in your story. I mean, that's really what you have to go with.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
So.
That makes a lot of sense. So, a little bit earlier, you mentioned the fact that Facebook was not necessarily the best place for authors. I agree with you. I am interested to hear what your reasons why Facebook doesn't really work. Because I have my own, which we'll get to in a minute. But why do you think Facebook doesn't work so well?
Well, the thing with Facebook, I don't know, people go on Facebook and they're just passing time. They're just like, I don't know, people don't go on Facebook to buy things. Okay.
Right.
So like, you go on Facebook, there's groups and stuff like that. There's a lot of groups for authors and for different book genres and things like that. But they're not really engaging because that's not necessarily what people go to Facebook for. They go there, it's more personal. You know what I mean? It's like they're going there to connect with their friends and their family and things like that, not necessarily to buy stuff or to, I don't know. It's a different platform for that type of thing. It doesn't seem to work as well.
No, that makes sense. I'm glad that you said that because I came to the same conclusion, and I find it interesting because Facebook very much wants people to start shopping on its platform. Many of us who have a page have gotten a dozen million notifications about, oh, the new Facebook shop, the new Facebook e-commerce experience, all this sort of thing.
Yes.
That Facebook's really, really trying to be an e-commerce site. Desperately. So desperate.
Yes.
I don't know if they're going to be successful, but they're really desperately trying.
No. No, I don't think it really works for most. I mean, like, I don't know, people buy courses like, on Facebook, things like that. People, I don't know, they buy occasionally like, shirts or something sometimes, but even that's not, a big thing that people buy from there. It's usually like, diet pills and things like that. Those are the kind of things that do well on Facebook.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, with the people that you have worked with, which has been more successful, ebooks, print books, or both equally?
Both equally, because usually the print books, they're selling them for a higher profit. They'll usually sell more ebooks, but at the same time, it's like they'll do a week where they'll give them away for free. So, you're going to get a ton of downloads from that. And of course, people buy ebooks and, who knows if they even read them all the time. Sometimes they'll just buy them because they're just like, oh yeah, ebook, but they don't always even read them. And so you're not going to get the best reviews either. So I don't know. I like print books. I find that a lot of people really like print books. They like to have that book in their hand and read it. It's like it's kind of, it's part of reading. It's like, you're by yourself and you're sitting and you're reading a book. It's different. I don't know. It's a different way of connecting with the story. And yeah.
No, same. So. When I first started publishing longer stuff, I anticipated that most of my sales would be electronic and print would be a laggard. The reverse has been true. People will buy print books from me all day and night. Ebooks are right now not this big a mover, including internationally. because I sell books in every country English is spoken as a dominant language. And,
Mm-hmm.
down in Australia, they think my novel is just great, and they buy it in print. No ebooks from Australia.
Yeah.
All the ebooks come from America. Yeah,
Yep.
print Australia. They're excited. So,
Yes.
yeah. So I found that as well. I was interested to see kind of what the dynamic was with that as well. So, yeah. So when it comes to, I know we don't have them right now because of COVID and all this type of thing, but book conferences, writing conferences, all that sort of thing. Is it worth it? Is it not? Do you recommend it? How do you feel?
Um, it depends on what your goals are as a writer. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
Because if you want to go and you want to connect with other authors, and you want to, learn more with, more from other authors and things like that, then yes, definitely. I think they're fantastic. They're a great way to connect with other authors and people in your genre or, things of that nature. But, for somebody that's just, you just want to write and you just want to sell your books, then I don't think it's necessary. I mean, if you enjoy it, yes, but, whatever
Well, I was
works
thinking,
for you,
yeah, well, I was thinking also like, going to specific events where books are being sold and going to the work of paying for a table, ordering books, getting set up there. Do you think,
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
depends. That
yeah,
depends too, because it's like, okay, say you're going to a big event that is, specifically around your genre. Okay, say you're going to a big sci-fi event and, you sell sci-fi books. Well, then yes, it would be
yeah.
worth it because people are going to, but you've got to have, a good, you really got to present yourself well and things like that too. So yeah, it depends what your
Yeah.
interests are and what your genre and things like that. But yeah,
No, that
I have,
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, there's one author I know that he's a big gamer. So he takes these games and he puts them into stories and into novels, and they're fantastic. And so he does a lot of events with gaming. So then he sells his books at those type of events. So you see that it's not necessarily a book event, but it's a gaming event where he sells his books. So that's more something I'd recommend rather than actually just going at a place where everybody is selling all these different books and you want to set yours up too. It's not really going to be worth it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to be on the reason I asked this, I used to be on this mailing list for this company that they did book fairs. That was their, all around the country, that was what they did, sort of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I was actually going to go to one of their events, and then COVID happened, and that was the end of that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to figure out the cost benefit analysis on it, and I couldn't. I couldn't, like, it seemed like a good idea on the surface, but I couldn't, because I know I've done trade show stuff for other stuff in the past, because I also have a background in marketing, and I know that
Mm-hmm.
trade shows are one of those things, don't anticipate you're going to make a lot of money off of them. It's kind of
Right.
nice to go, it's nice to connect with some new people, it's a great branding move, it's good branding investment,
Yes.
but it's not
Absolutely.
necessarily going to it's not necessarily going to be a huge moneymaker. And so
Right.
when I was getting ready to this book fair thing, I was kind of like, this feels like a trade show, which means I'm going to meet a lot of people. It's going to be really great for the brand, but will I sell a lot of books? Probably not. Is it really worth it? And then
Well,
COVID made the
and
decision for me, so it didn't matter. But
yeah. When in that respect, like, you'd be better off giving away bookmarks than, trying to sell books, at a
right,
big, trade show thing like that. So, but like, okay, say, there's a lot of like medieval festivals. Okay. So you could, if you sell, fantasy books, you could go and take a few books, don't take a ton, don't waste a lot of money getting a ton of them, but you could set up
right.
and have a few of your books, but mainly like, just hand out bookmarks and talk to people, you'd be better off doing that than you would be trying to actually sell books and investing a lot of money in it.
Yeah. So speaking of bookmarks, little promotional items like that, what are some of the promotional items you would recommend writers should invest in?
I highly, highly recommend bookmarks. They are absolutely one of the best tools ever. You send people bookmarks. They just, not only do people love them, people who read love bookmarks. And then you've got that. It's like a business card that they always have. They have it right in front of their face. They use it. That's something I highly recommend. And pretty much anything else. You can do business cards, but that's really not necessary. Bookmarks are really the way to go.
Okay,
Definitely.
excellent. Is there any particular supplier you would recommend the dear listener go order their bookmarks from?
Wherever you can get the best deal. Usually Vistaprint's about the best. You can get the most for your money, but there's a lot of different places that sell them, and that's probably your best bet because you can get 100 of them pretty cheaply, so it's not a huge investment.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. That's the type of information we're looking for. So that's
yeah.
Yeah, no. It's the kind of the goal is to give people some clear ideas of what they can do, where they should be investing. Because the problem is there's so many options, and I've been guilty of this too. There are so many options. You can end up spending a lot of money on a lot of things and get nowhere. So with this conversation, I really wanted to be kind of like to focus on spend money here in this way, sort of thing, to kind of narrow down the choices of here's what's working, here's what's moving, and let the rest go, and don't go buy another expensive marketing course, which is really just advice for myself. But
no, don't do that. It's not worth it. Just be creative. That's really all it is. It's just think outside the box and be creative, and just try to reach your audience. So it's where are they at? Where's your audience? And find them, and find what they want. That's really the biggest thing. But as far as bookmarks go, it's like there's a lot of sites that sell them, but they're generally they're so that you can sell them online and make a profit. So like Vistaprint is something you can just order in there, and give them away. And it's, not a huge expense that way. So,
yeah. As far as the digital assets go in terms of like book covers and all that type of thing, is that something that you have a lot of, people spend a lot of money on, sort of thing?
I do book covers, for example.
Right.
I don't charge a lot for it because, I usually put it with a package. If I'm going to format your book, and I usually just kind of include that. So I don't think that it's necessarily I don't like to see people waste their money either. So it's I don't think it's worth it to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a book cover and then have it not be what you want it to be. So just find somebody that will do a book cover and have it be the way you want it to be, and just, look nice and be marketable. That's really what you're looking for in a book cover.
Which involves probably looking at what covers in your genre look like.
Yes.
And then making that your own, sort of thing. So when it comes to creating someone's book cover, what are you looking for? What process do you go through? How does a cover come to life?
Well, mainly it's, what do you want? What do you want your book cover to look like? And most people, writing is an art form. Most people who write books, they are, really artists at heart. So they know what they want. That's generally what it boils down to, is everybody, they know what they want. They're like, oh, I was thinking about having it this way or this way. but I just don't know how to do it. And that's usually the type of people that I end up working with. And I'm just like, okay, well, how do you like this? And sometimes we go back and forth a little bit with, different images, and, they find something, they're like, oh, could you do this? And it's like, yeah, sure. So I don't know. Generally people know what they want. And I don't know, it's generally not very difficult to pull it together. Just back and forth communication, and just do it till they're happy,
No, that makes a lot of sense. There are some people that I've met on Twitter that have very, very specific ideas. I'm sorry, I'm coughing a lot today. It's a bit dry here, which is unusual.
Yeah.
It's Seattle, it's always wet. But you can't tell my throat that today, of course, because I'm doing an interview, and that's how life works.
Yes.
The people that have like very different stultifying ideas of like, your book cover must be this and it must be that and it can't be this and it can't be that. So I was just wondering if
Oh, no, I don't
you know.
I don't believe in rules. Okay, so that's one of the big things that, like, okay, even writing. If you want to have sentence fragments and it works in your story, then go for it. We don't have to, have your grammar be, perfect either. You have to know the rules. Okay. You have to know writing rules, and you have to know the rules about, making the cover and things like that, so that you can break them. I mean, that's really what it is. Nobody ever became famous for breaking the rules, or for not breaking the rules. That was it. I can't remember who said that. It was, I don't remember, somebody famous,
Yeah, right. Well, the dear listener owns a smartphone. If they are really that curious, they can look it up themselves.
Yeah.
Most everyone else will just kind of nod along. It's fine.
Yeah, and I probably said it backwards too, but that's okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Nobody ever became famous for following the rules, and there certainly is some truth to that. So it's important to keep the creativity first and go from there. So, well, excellent. So this is the part of the show where we talk about plugs and where people can find you online, and what you have on offer, whatever have you. So let us know where to find you, website, online, and all that type of thing, and what kind of services you offer.
Okay, well, I pretty much do anything and everything when it comes to books and book marketing and helping people get their books published. My website is galadrielgrace.com, and it's Galadriel, just like, in Lord of the Rings, and Grace, just GRACE.com. And there's, I have like prices listed on my website, and I am going to mention, like, you can still just contact me and I'll put things together and work with people. Those prices are just kind of general. So,
right.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect. And we'll put the link in the show notes so people can go right there and all that sort of thing. Well, it has been excellent talking about some book marketing stuff with you. It's a lot more open and a lot less technical than I was anticipating. So, I was anticipating a lot of like, you must do this way and you have to do this. I was thinking it was going to be very structured. Yeah, and it was very open and kind of like, and it almost feels like achievable. Like, oh yeah, like people can do this and I can do this and yay, this is awesome. So perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
That's my whole thing is just I want people to succeed, and everybody's unique, and let's do it your way. I mean, that's my thing.
Excellent. So. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Cameron Journal podcast and talking to us about book marketing.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
That's all for this episode of the Cameron Journal podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Visit us online at CameronJournal.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I love to talk to my followers and listeners, so please feel free to get us on social media at Cameron Cowan on Twitter. And we'll see you next time on the Cameron Journal podcast.